How's it going, guys? Welcome back to the James Coffee YouTube channel. My name is Angel and I'm the producer of the videos here at James Coffee. So normally I'm usually behind the camera, but today I'm in front and I've brought you into my office here and we're gonna talk about a product that I practically use every single day, and that is the Flair Espresso Maker. Before we get into the video, make sure that you're subscribed to the channel so that you're always caught up on when we make new videos, new tutorials, new product reviews, all that good stuff. Also, this video is not sponsored by Flair, nor are any of our other product reviews. We just like to show off and showcase different products that we find really useful here at James, and this has been one that has popped up on our radar recently. I found it very useful, and a lot of the other baristas have found it very useful, so I'm just gonna talk through why I like it, how to use it, and some other stuff about it. So without further ado, let's jump into the video. So the Flair Espresso is a manual espresso maker, and basically what that means is that there's nothing to hook up. There's no cords, there's no external power source. It's all done through your muscles, basically. I've also heard it called a lever espresso maker, and the reason for that is pretty obvious. There's a lever here. This particular model of the Flair Espresso Maker is the Flair Neo, which I believe is their lowest priced model. I really like it. Like I said in the beginning of the video, I use this pretty much every single day. I drink a ton of coffee. Before I transitioned into being a full-time filmmaker, I used to actually be a barista at James, and I was super spoiled with being able to come into work and use our big fancy La Marzocco's and make myself some like bomb coffee whenever I wanted. But when I transitioned out of being a barista, I was kind of left to fend for myself whenever I'm at home. I needed something that was going to be in my price point, which is nothing. I needed something that was gonna give me good control and was gonna just make me a good cup of coffee. This is really good for people who make iced lattes, and that's my personal favorite drink of choice. So I'm not looking for like the tightest espresso cup, but I am looking for something that is still going to taste really good and that I have the control over to be able to put out as best of an espresso that I possibly can. I found that the Flair gives me just enough control. Like, I'm still weighing out my coffee, which I'll talk about in a little bit, and it just puts out some great espresso. So without further mumbling, let's talk about how to use it and how it functions and all that good stuff. So like I said earlier, the Flair Espresso is a manual espresso maker, which means that you are using your arm pretty much to create that pressure that you would normally find in an automated espresso machine. A lot of other manual espressos can sometimes be difficult to use because you actually have to measure out how much pressure you're using in your arm, and there are models that are higher end of the Flair Espresso that you have that control as well, and you can buy like little pressure gauges to help you kind of manage that, and that just gives you this like extra layer of control. I personally don't need that, and also I have no muscle strength whatsoever, so I just got this, and this little red guy here is called I think they call it like a flow control head. So pretty much it manages that pressure for me. So all I have to do is just push down and it'll get me the correct pressure that I need to just make a decent espresso shot. Let's break down the different components of this. So we have the main system here. This is the arm, this is your base. There's a little plate here that you can take on and off to clean. This is the actual brewing mechanism. So you have this piece, which is your plunger. You have this center chamber, which is where your hot water goes. And then this is your portafilter. This is your little actual filter part, and then this is where your coffee's gonna go. And basically how it works is that you put all these guys together. After you put your coffee in here, you put the little chamber on top, fill it up with water, put the plunger on top, and then boom, you got a cup of coffee. So before we actually get into brewing, let's talk about the things that you need in addition to the Flair Espresso. So obviously you're gonna need a little cup to put your espresso in when it's done brewing. You obviously need your coffee. I'm using our Night Owl blend, which is what we use for espresso in the shops. You're gonna need a grinder. I'm using one that I found from Amazon that can grind really fine. And if you haven't seen our how to choose the correct grinder for you, I'll link that either up here or somewhere. It's on our channel, and it's a really good video to kind of introduce you to like what grinder you would need for what kind of coffee. So we're making espresso, so obviously we're gonna need something that can get us really, really, really fine. Next up, you're gonna need a scale. I'm using a Hario scale, and then you're also gonna need some sort of kettle. I'm just using the most basic Hario kettle. What it comes with is it comes with this little funnel to help you kind of get the coffee into this portafilter. And it does actually come with a tamp. I'm gonna be using my custom one today. My wife got this for me for Valentine's Day. I really like it, and I'm just being bougie with this, but it does come with a little mechanism that not only helps you tamp, but also helps you pop out when this plunger is in there. You can use it to pop the plunger back out, which I think is really, really, really useful. So yeah, in addition to the Flair, you will need a grinder, a scale, and a kettle. Those are the big things that you're going to need when after you buy your Flair. So the first step in making our espresso shot is obviously to heat up our water. I'm just gonna stick this guy on the burner, get it boiling, and then let it sit for a little bit to let it come back down to around 200 degrees. Okay, so I've got my fresh off the boil water down there. And what we can do while we're waiting for it to kind of come back down to 200 degrees is that we can actually preheat all of our components here. This will drastically impact your brew, by the way. When I first got this, I didn't really take this seriously with the preheating thing, but I'm just telling you right now, this makes a huge impact. So don't skip this step. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna take our little portafilter here, and I'm gonna take our hot water, and I'm just going to do a little bit in here, and then just give it a little swirl around. And what this is doing is it's just heating the vessel. It's the same thing that you would do for like a pour over, how you preheat your mug or whatever you're like pouring your pour over into. And it's kind of a similar thing. And then what I can do is I have a little cup here, and then I can kind of pour this water into this chamber as well, just to kind of preheat it. And then I don't know how important this step is, but I like to pull dry shots. So I'm just going to give this a little wipe here so that it's not just full of water. And we can start measuring out our coffee now. Okay, so once I've preheated my portafilter, I'm gonna put this little filter guy on. This also makes a huge difference, trust me, otherwise you get coffee everywhere. I'm gonna tear out my scale, and then I'm gonna take my ground coffee. And Flair recommends that you usually start around 16 grams. And I would say that that's been like a really, really nice starting point. For me right now, what has been working best for me is around 16.2. But it's totally gonna differ depending on like the weather of where you're at, what kind of coffee you're using. So I would say start at 16 grams and then kind of go up or down from there. I would say that the Flair has kind of a more complicated dialing in process. I think because of just how small the dose is, it's more sensitive to if you make changes to it. So just make sure that your grind setting is like right on target, and mess around with, because the grind setting is gonna like play a huge role in that as well. Starting at 16 grams has generally worked really well for me, no matter what coffee I'm throwing on there. All right, so now I've got my coffee to 16.2 in here, so I can put this aside. And normally I would not do this, but because of the funnel situation, I am gonna give it a little tap just so the coffee is able to settle into the portafilter and it's not hanging out on the sides of the funnel when I take the funnel off. Now I'm gonna take my tamp, and again, you could use the little black one that comes with the Flair. I'm just gonna take my tamp and try and get as even as possible. Give it a little twist as I pull it out so we don't get that suction. And I find that sometimes I have to do this a couple of times. I don't have to push down super hard, but just enough to pack everything in there. And again, we're gonna twist and pull so we avoid that suction. And we got our packed espresso. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna throw this guy on there, which is our actual filter part. And then I'm gonna put this chamber right on top, just like that. And now we're ready to put the water in. So the part about the Flair that I really like, which some people might not like, is the fact that you can't really control your output because it's just a fixed line inside of this chamber that you pour your water up to. I like it just because I don't have to focus on weighing out. So like while I'm doing this, I can just zone out. But so that's exactly what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna fill the water up to the little line that's in there. Alrighty. Cool. So this is the part that y'all are gonna laugh at me for, because I swear I struggle with this arm. Normally, there's literally a sign that comes on here that's like, you are strong enough to do this, so don't over push. But when I first got this, I was struggling, y'all. Like I have negative muscles here, so we're so basically the next step is that you're just going to use this lever to push down, and then inside of this chamber it's going to create that pressure to give us true espresso. And let's do it. The biggest thing is that you're just going to want to keep a consistent flow here. You don't want to have any like burps or air pockets or anything like that. So just try and keep it as consistent of like a stream as you can. And again, most people will not need to push this hard. All right, and we've reached the end, which means that we have our little cup of espresso. Check it out. This is probably hard for you guys to see from over where the camera's at, but it's got what we're looking for. It's got a nice crema on the top, and it's got that like layering where it starts off lighter and gets like really dark at the bottom. It looks exactly like how we want it to look. But of course, we have to try it to be 100% sure. So let's do that. So good. This is shocking how good it is, if I'm being completely honest with you. For something as inexpensive as the Flair, for it to put out coffee that is this good, you have this much control over it, it's really impressive. Also, it's super easy to clean because all you have to do is you can grab this when it's hot because of this little rubber part here, and you just pull this apart, throw out your grinds, and then just rinse out all of these little components here, and it's so easy. So now what I can do is I could take this shot and I could go make a latte. I could drink it straight if I need just like a quick espresso boost. And that's pretty much it. It is so incredibly easy to use. And for somebody who spends a lot of my day in my home office editing, and if I just want like a quick coffee that I don't want to have to like run to James for, and I don't want to have to run to whatever, you know, coffee shop is near my house and leave if I'm in the middle of like a big project and I just am like, oh, I need coffee right now. This is really, really a good option. Another great thing about this is that because it is fully manual, it's portable. So you could take this camping if you wanted to. You could take it on trips, which is really great because I know a lot of the other portable espresso makers are really expensive. So this is a great affordable option for having really surprisingly good espresso. If you're outside of the San Diego area, we can link the website for this in the description. But if you're in the San Diego area and you want to come visit us at our Little Italy location at James at Home, we actually started carrying these just because we all love them so much. So if you want to come stop by and pick one up, we carry, I believe, the Neo model, and I don't know if we carry any of the other models, but the Neo is definitely the easiest, just super simplest method of making espresso that I've personally found that is affordable. It's like the output tastes great, and it's not super complicated. So with that being said, I hope you guys liked today's video. Also, of course, if you want to get our Night Owl blend, that is on our website, which will again be linked in the description. Everything will be in the description. And if you guys have any questions about the Flair, or you have other products that you want us to try out and review, definitely throw that in the comments below and we'll check it out. And yeah, thanks for watching this video. Make sure you give this a big thumbs up. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button, and we'll see you in the next video.